Shabbat Shalom. We are going to start right in. Page 172. I'm using the second service this morning. Page 172. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, vani berochastecha, avo beitecha, eshtachав el hechal kodshecha, be'yiratecha, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, Adonai ahavti me'od beitecha, u'mekom mishkan kvodecha, mishkan kvodecha, vani eshtachaveh, ve'efracha lifnei Adonai, osi, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, vani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov chastecha, Elohim berov chastecha, haneni be'emet yishecha, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to take turns reading the English passages of the service. I wonder, Skylar, should we put the neat bar on for, there's nobody on.
Right now, there's nobody on.
Okay, so I ask because I wonder if people online would be able to hear those in the congregation when they read. I know that's a lot of back and forth.
There's nobody on Zoom yet. I don't know if there's
Right.
someone.
Okay. So we'll see if that comes up. So we're going to take turns reading the English passages. If you don't feel like reading, just wave to the person next in line. We'll go up and down the rows, okay? So let's start on page 174. Again, in the English. Deb, would you like to begin?
The soul that you have given me, O God, is pure. You created and formed it.
Baruch atah Adonai, asher biado nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol basar ish. Now you see on page 175 the morning blessings, Birchot HaShachar. This is that long series of blessings that are traditionally recited in the morning before you get to the formal part of the service. Originally, these were recited in the home. Eventually got moved to the synagogue service. I have an English version of these blessings. It's in the songbook on page 26. Let me feel the sunlight at the dawning of the day. Let me see the road ahead and guide me on my way. Free me from my yesterdays and hold me from above. Lift me when I'm fallen and revive me with your love. Carry me across the waves and set me on the shore. Show me how not walk alone. Cover me in comfort when I tremble to the core. Strengthen me in moments when I'm weary and I'm worn. Open up my eyes to all the wonders of the morn. Help me know both who I am and who I'm meant to be. Teach me to be ever more aware that I am free. Lead me on this journey that began so long ago. Guard me and I'll know no fear. Crown me with the morning and enfold me in its glow. Let me feel the sunlight at the dawning of the day. Let me see the road ahead and guide me on my way. Page 178. We read the last blessing on the page together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Page 179. Sarah, would you continue, please?
Adonai, our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us and to the house of Israel, your people, that we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of Torah to our people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai hamelamed Torah la'amo Yisrael. And page 180. Beth?
Not in the Hebrew,
Nope, just the English.
just the English. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
A couple of lines that we actually discussed during Torah study this morning. Page 184, this setting for Psalm 92 begins at the top of the page and then after the first verse jumps down to the last paragraph in Hebrew. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Mizmor shir Yom HaShabbat Tov leodot l'Adonai Uzamer l'shimcha elyon Uzamer l'shimcha elyon Lehagid Oker chasdecha ve'emunatecha ba'leilot Tzadik katamar yifrach Ke'erez balvanon yizkem Shetulim beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu Od yenuvon beseva Dishenim v'rananim yehiyu Lehagid ki yashar Adonai Tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 189. At the bottom of the page, Susie, we're up to you.
Let the soul of everything alive bless your name, Adonai our God, and the spirit of all flesh glorify and exalt your name forever as sovereign. Transcending space and time, you alone are God. You are the unique sovereign who is Redeemer and Savior, God of the first and the last, God of all creatures, Master of all generations, who is praised in a multitude of praises, who guides the world with abundant loving kindness, and all creatures with mercy. Adonai neither slumbers nor sleeps.
And at the top of the next page, Jonathan, we're just going to keep going around the row.
We acknowledge that you alone awaken the sleeping, arouse those who are not alert, give speech to the mute, and loosen the bonds of captives, supporting the fallen, and strengthening those who are bent over. You alone do we acknowledge.
I particularly like that in the morning prayers before you get to Baruch Hu, it specifically praises God for being the one who awakens the sleeping. Because I think there's a little bit of a double entendre there. Page 194. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'almat yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala uv'isman kariv V'imeru Amen Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach L'olam ulol me'almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudisha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran me'alma v'imeru Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Let's continue at the top of page 196, and we'll take turns with each paragraph. Adam?
The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcomes than gold. A Torah from heaven.
I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them. You who redeems the sun from darkness.
Baruch Adonai Yoser HaMeorot, page 198. Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rava, Ahavtanu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. How deeply you have loved us, how deeply you have loved us, how deeply you have loved us, Adonai Eloheinu. Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. Page 200. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Page 201, Peter, would you continue?
Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words that I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
Page 204.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehil, Osefele. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, Osefele, Osefele. Zur Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Uvdechinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu, Adonai tzivaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, Ufi agita ilatecha. Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, Ufi agita ilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagita ilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagita ilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevi gula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo bi'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, v'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor l'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach u'morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot Umido melach, melech memid, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, b'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. You may be seated. We're going to continue with an English setting for the conclusion of the Kedusha. It's on page 21 of the songbook. We are gifts, we are blessings, we are history in song. We are hope, we are healing, we are learning to be strong. We are words, and we are stories, we are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Dor vador, Nagid God Lecha, L'dor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy, we are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. L'dor vador, Nagid God Lecha, L'dor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Let's continue at the bottom of the page. Deb, I think we're back to you.
From the meaning?
Yes.
The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to the holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world.
Baruch atah Adonai
Mekadesh HaShabbat. And let's continue on page 212, changing readers with each paragraph.
Today, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others.
Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us.
Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you.
Together, we praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 214, and let's take turns reading paragraphs and join together in the Hebrew refrain. And at the bottom of the page. Susie?
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination.
Modim anachnu lach.
In the fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and sunset seasons,
Modim anachnu lach. Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding the views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose,
Modim anachnu lach.
we pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds.
Baruch atah Adonai, hato shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Page 216. Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uveracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom. Going to continue now with the Torah service. Hooray! We get to read Torah. And I'm going to pick up on, let's see, where's the song we're going to sing? It's here somewhere. We're going to sing also Shadavarim as we carry the Torah out. It's on page 249. Now, here's what's going to happen. We're going to open the ark, take the Torah out and bring it forward. I'm going to need a couple of helpers. One person to open the ark and then close it after the Torah is taken out, and to help uncover the Torah. The other person to hold the Torah, and we're using the green Torah, the one on the right today. So those are two people I need at the start. And then after the Torah reading, I'll need one person to lift the Torah and another person to dress it. So somebody who would like to open the ark and uncover the Torah, who would like to be on for that? You'll do that, Robin. Thank you very much. Who will hold the Torah, take the Torah out and hold it? Another volunteer, scanning, volunteers. All right, Susie. So here's when you bring the Torah out, just bring it right up here. I'll sing while you're doing this. Take the crowns off, put the crowns here, yad, take the Torah cover and put it there, and then lay the Torah down on the table. So uncover first before we put it down on the table. Okay, and then when it's time to lift the Torah, somebody who would like to lift, this is the lightest. John, you're on. And dressing the Torah? Dressing the Torah? Okay, thank you very much, Charlotte. So let's all rise as we take the Torah from you. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Haolam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Haolam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Haolam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al HaTorah ve'al HaAvodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al HaTorah ve'al HaAvodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim. You may be seated. And you're probably going to want to get a copy of the Torah commentary, the Plowed commentary over there. Copies over there. Thank you, Beth. Move this over here. I have it. Yeah, I got it. I do. It is right there. And find my place first. We are reading from Parshat Vayechi, the last parsha in the book of Genesis. It is on page 306 of the Plowed commentary. This is Genesis 47, and I'm going to begin in verse 28. So, again, it's page 306, chapter 47, verse 28. So, I'm going to read through the parsha. After we dress the Torah, I'll do Haftarah, and then we're going to come back to discuss this parsha and its relationship to the Haftarah as well. And our Aliyah will be recited by Peter Cohen. Yamod Shraga Shlomo ben Ruvain v'Rachel. Hold on. Hold on to the.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'na'asan lanu Torah emes. V'chayei olam notah b'suchenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen. Let me just roll this a little bit. There we go. Amen. Vayechi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim, Sheva Esrei Shana. Vayehi Yemei Yaakov, Shnei Chayav, Sheva Shanim, Va'arba'im Ahad Shana. Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael, Lamud, Vayikra, Livno Liosef, Vayomer Lo, Imna, Matzati Chen Beinecha, Simna Yarecha Tachet Yerechi, Ve'asita Imadi, Chesed Ve'emet, Al Na Tikbareini B'Mitzrayim, V'shachavti Imavotai, Unsatani B'Mitzrayim, Ukvartani Pikvuratam, Vayomar Anochi Esechid Varecha, Vayomer Hishava'a li, Vayishava'a lo, Vayishtachu Yisrael al Rosh HaMitah.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher nasan lanu Torah emes. V'chayei olam notah b'suchenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you, Peter. Okay, and let's see, Jonathan, you said you're lifting, and Charlene is dressing the Torah. So, well, let's see, what am I doing here? The trick to lifting the Torah is to bring it over the edge. You use the edge like a fulcrum, okay? Bend your knees a little bit, pick it up, turn around so we can see the open side, and then bring it back and lay it down on the table. We want to tie it, roll it tightly and tie it. And then if you would sit down there, and Charlene, you put on the cover, the yod, and then the crowns, okay? Page 252, please rise. Should it be open a little bit, yeah. Go ahead. V'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai 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 lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. You comfortable holding that for a little while? Good. Okay. On to Haftarah. The Haftarah can be found in the Plout Commentary on page 323. This Haftarah is from 1 Kings, and near the beginning of the book, and this Haftarah describes David's instructions shortly before he dies. You notice the relationship between the Torah portion, that in the Torah portion, Jacob speaks to his sons and instructs them what to do after he dies. David speaks to his son in the Haftarah and instructs him what to do after he dies. So the selection of this passage as the Haftarah is directly related to the verses that we read from the Torah portion. So first a blessing, and then I'll chant through the Haftarah. Again, the Haftarah is on page 323. Started at the beginning of it, yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abocher b'Torah ufmoshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo v'nviei hamed v'tzedek. Vayikrevu yemei David lamud vayitzav et Shlomo v'no lemor. Anochi holech b'derech kol haaretz v'chazakta v'hayita leish v'shamarta et mishmeret Adonai Elohecha lalechet b'drachav lishmor chukotav mitzvotav u'mishpatav ve'edotav kakatuv b'torat Moshe leman taskil eid kol asher ta'aseh ve'eid kol asher tifneh sham leman yakim Adonai et devaro asher diber alai lemor im yishmeru vanecha et darkam lalechet lefanai be'emet b'chol levavam uv'chol nafsham lemor lo yikaret lecha ish me'al kisei Yisrael v'gam ata yadata et asher asali Yoav ben Tzruya asher asa lishtei saretz tzivot Yisrael lavner ben ner v'la'amasa then yeter vayahar game vayasem demei milchama b'shalom vayitain demei milchama b'chagorato asher b'modnav uvna'alo asher b'raglav v'asita kachochmatecha v'lo tored sevato b'shalom she'ol v'lifnei Barzilai hagiladi ta'aseh chesed v'hayu be'ochelei shulchanecha ki chen karvu elai bevorchi mipnei avshalom achicha v'nei imcha shim'i ven gera ven hayemini mibachurim v'hu kilelani kilala nimretzet b'yom lechti machanayim v'hu yarad likrati hayardain va'eshava lo v'Adonai lemor im amitecha becharev v'ata al tinakehu ki ish chacham ata v'yadata et asher ta'aselo v'horadata et sevato b'dam she'ol vayishkav David im avotav vayikaver be'ir David v'hayamim asher malach David al Yisrael arba'im shana b'Chevron malach sheva shanim u'v'Yerushalayim malach shloshim v'shalosh shanim u'shlomo yashav al kisei David aviv v'tikon malchuto me'od. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el hane'eman ha'omer v'oseh ha'medaberum kayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanevi'im ve'al yom haShabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu liktushav limnucha lechavod ultifared. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu nachlu modim lach umevarchim otach יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen. Well, that's a juicy text to read. If you're following along in the translation, David decides to settle some scores. It says, now, you know, I promised that I wouldn't lay a hand on this guy. But Solomon, you know what to do. And he says, show yourself to be a man. It's a very gendered text. I mean, it's important to recognize that there is gender in the language, and that he's specifically telling his son to man up and deal with the guys who didn't treat me right. Show them that you're your father's son. It's a very dark passage. David is a complicated character. He is really a very complex figure, both for his greatness and for his weakness. But I want to go back to the text of the Torah because it touches on a core Jewish value that I think is really worth exploring. So, Torah reading, back in Genesis, it's on page 306 of the Plowed Commentary. So let's take a look at that, page 306. And I only read a few verses. And let's see, I read from the very beginning of Vayechi, verse 28. And I wonder, can I get a volunteer to do some reading in English, starting in verse 29? Where did we leave off in reading? Who read last? Let's see. I don't know who read last. So let me get a volunteer reader. Who wants to read here? Okay, somebody whose voice is not going. Thank you. Verse 29.
When Israel's time to die drew near, he summoned his son Joseph and said to him, "If I have but found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and treat me with faithful kindness. Please do not bury me in Egypt."
Oh my gosh. Don't bury me here. Right? Keep going. One more.
"When I am laid to rest with my ancestors, carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place." He replied, "I will do as you say."
Okay. It's really a powerful moment when we meet Jacob, who actually has been dying for quite a while. Now he says to Joseph, who is the most powerful person in Egypt next to Pharaoh. And he says, whatever you do, take me back home. I want to be buried in Queens. What is he saying? What is he directing his son, the one who's got the enough power to make it happen? What's he directing him to do?
So he can be with his ancestors.
Right. Bury me in the family plot. The thing he wants is to be buried next to his family. Talk about a core Jewish value going back as far back as we can go in the legends of our people, the legendary stories of the origins of the Jewish people. We have a core Jewish value that you're supposed to be buried where your ancestors were buried. Well, at least in his case, where is his father and mother and his grandfather and grandmother on his father's side were buried. Obviously, he can't be buried where all of his ancestors are. That can't happen. So What do we know about the burial site, by the way? Anybody remember the story?
What's in Beersheba where Abraham hated
It's
Amalek.
Abraham lived in Beersheba, but the burial site is not in Beersheba. That's where Abraham lived, but not where the burial site is.
It's in the cave of Machpelah.
Where is the cave of Machpelah?
I thought it was near Hebron.
It's in Hebron. So they're both in the south, but Beersheba is further south and in the middle of the Negev, whereas
Been there all one summer.
yeah, whereas Hebron is south of Jerusalem. If you take the road from Jerusalem, you head south, you go through Bethlehem, and then down to Hebron. Today, Hebron's a West Bank city. But that's the spot where Abraham bought a plot of land to bury Sarah. And then Isaac and Rebekah are buried there. Jacob says, whatever you do, don't bury me in Egypt. So, to me, it's a striking passage. Anybody have your own comments about this and what it says to you, Robin?
Well, I guess one of the things is that Abraham didn't own land beforehand, so that was the first land that he purchased. And so, and when he's negotiating the price, he wants to make sure that he's paying a fair price, he's paying, so there wouldn't be any sort of question later on that this land, the burial site could be taken away from him and his family.
You think about it, it's affirming the value of burial. That burial is all important. At this very early stage in ancient Judaism, when other people probably did other things. Not only is burial important, but it's important to have a place to call your own.
Does it also get at the idea that Egypt wasn't home, that home was actually back in Israel?
Yeah, we came here, we had to migrate here, but it isn't really home. And it's really interesting. He wants to go to the place where his family's buried, which isn't probably even his home in Canaan either. So I don't remember where Jacob lived, but Abraham lived in Beersheba, so maybe the family was settled there. I don't know. Jacob lives up north. He lives near Bethel, right? Yeah, Jacob's up in the north, but regardless, it's not Hebron. And but somehow Egypt is foreign territory. This isn't our real home. Yeah, we live here now.
It's just like reside ger, as opposed to, am I using the word?
Yeah, you're right.
They're residing, but they're not, what's the word for really?
They're not citizens. They don't belong. Ger is the correct word for it.
How are they supposed to, the practicality, it's a hot climate. And it's gonna take a while to get there. I mean, that's not discussed, of course.
But it is what he does.
Eons ago.
The Egyptians solved that problem eons.
Well, I know, but then they're taking a lot of them out of him and does he want to have that happen? And
Yeah, I don't know that they do that. I don't know that they bomb him. It doesn't say that, I don't believe, but it does say that he takes him back. That he dies and Joseph takes him back and buries. Unlike what happens when Joseph, at the end of the book, Joseph has to give instructions for his death. What does he say? It is similar. Joseph says, make sure when you leave Egypt to take me with you. Maybe it's because he knows that his children, Ephraim and Manasseh, and the rest of the Hebrews, won't have the ability to do what he had the ability to do, which was leave Egypt, take his father back and bury him. They might not not be able to, but he sees it in the future, he says, someday you're going home. And when you do, take me with you. Even Joseph, who is risen
This position of power doesn't want to be buried in Egypt. He wants to go back. And so the tradition says that he's buried in the same site. Jacob and Leah are buried there. Rachel is not. Jacob's second wife is buried in Bethlehem. Now, the passage is very much on my mind right now because my family's in the midst of talking about where we're going to buy burial plots. We've been going through this discussion, my brothers and I. It's very, it's one of those like, you don't actually really want to deal with it, but you know you should. And you know you should before you need to do it. Too many people don't. Too many people don't ask the question and come to some resolution until the family's, in the midst of dealing with the death. And at that point, that's really not giving sufficient forethought to the question. You want to be able to make a reasoned judgment. What are our values? So very much in the discussion of the families, well, gee, we'd like to be near family. We'd like to be close to the family. Well, that raises a bunch of questions, which family? Do you actually want to be in the same cemetery? What if there isn't room in the cemetery? How much room do you need? Who else might want to be there?
Does everybody want to be buried the same way?
Does
Does everybody want to be buried the same way, Rabbi?
It is quite meaningful to go to the cemetery where my parents are and see a bunch of family members right there. There they all are. There's my family history. They're not all there. Some are over there. Some are in a different cemetery. But it's very powerful. When we went to the unveiling for Janet's father, it's like, well, Janet knows, oh yeah, and then our other relatives, they're over there. Let's go see them. It's really very powerful to have that experience that not everybody chooses to have. So I read this passage, and it really speaks to me about how ancient this sentiment is. Now, I know, Peter, you have explored the family relations that you can find in cemeteries that, if for no other reason, that generations hence, people will be able to go and see who the relationships are simply by going to the cemetery is connecting with our past in its own way, right?
That's why you need to have enough information on the memorial to know that this Jacob Cohen is the right one versus the 500 others.
You mean on the gravestone, it conveys enough information, including, for example, Hebrew names. Hebrew names tell you who's related, where just the first and last name might not. You can actually tell, oh, this is the son or the daughter of that person.
Rabbi.
You just read my Hebrew name, Shraga Shlomo. There's very few Shraga Shlomos. Happens to be my great-grandfather's name. And just based on that, I was able to identify great uncles I never knew existed that were buried near each other.
Skylar?
So, Sharon is online.
Uh-huh.
She can say something and you can hear her, you won't be able to see her.
Okay, great.
Okay, so it's not so back like in the time the cemetery pieces that Peter and myself can go back and see. It's a different world now. It's like people didn't spread out as much. So the plots are together and families are together and they travel together even, at one point. But our family is a good example. Most everybody's buried in Queens. This is the first West Coast burial that there is no family plot. But I think just the way the world has moved forward, now we are spreading out just by where we are. Like grave sites aren't so familial, unless you make that defined choice, like you're saying your family's making. My parents didn't make that choice. They wanted to be buried where they lived and resided and felt was home. So, whereas Queens isn't anymore.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
And it's also setting the stage for the next generation because their children live on the West Coast.
Right, but choices on the way people are buried also affect where you're buried. So, yeah. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, I was struck this week going up to Oakmont
Memorial Park in Lafayette. It's a very different experience than going to what's it called, Gan Shalom?
Briones.
Very different experience because Gan Shalom is actually maintained by the Jewish community. And it's very, very different feel to the cemetery. Nonetheless, I'm touched by reading a passage that says, "Oh, this is what we do. This is what we tell our children. We tell our children what our wishes are." And Jacob's wish is so striking in the fact that, oh, this could be us having the same conversation with our kids. It could be the exact same conversation. Yeah, I live here, I live in California, but you know what? Take me back there. Back to the old country, Queens. Well, any last comments? Yeah, Sarah?
I think the story of Abraham paying, as you said, an arm and a leg for the cave is very relevant to the Bay Area, where it is very expensive to buy a burial plot.
Mm-hmm.
You can bankrupt your children.
Well,
That needs to be
yeah,
part of the decision.
it's an interesting point. Yeah, and yeah, you're right about connecting it to the Abraham story, that it may indeed affect our decisions. It's one reason why nonprofits like Gan Shalom and Sinai Memorial are so important, because anybody who is able to pay is actually helping to support the ability of that organization, that nonprofit organization, to provide for people who can't, which is not the case in the for-profit world. So let's continue. We're going to return the Torah to the Ark and then remain standing into Aleinu, page 256. So, Jonathan, when you come forward, I'll help you place the Torah in the Ark. Page 256. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomchecha meushar derachecha darchei noam v'chol netivotecha Shalom, hashivenu Adonai, elecha v'nashuva, chadesh yameinu kekedem. Page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 285. Let's read together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Page 295. Sharon, I'm so glad that you're able to participate online with us, and our hearts go out to you for the loss of your mother. Of course, many of us will look forward to joining you for Shiva for the Minyan. That will happen tomorrow at your home at 2 o'clock. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabah, ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehi shemei rabba mevarach le'olam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal. Shemei de kudisha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechmata. Da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. You may be seated.
So Sharon wanted me to remind everybody that if you, there's also Zoom option for the Shiva at 2 on Sunday. So if you can't be there in person for weather or whatever, you can join her Facebook page. She's got the link.
Thank you. I'm going to repeat that just in case anybody's watching live stream, because I don't know if it came through the chat or not. Shiva tomorrow for Sharon Cohen's mother. The Minyan will be on Zoom, in addition to being in person. So if you would like to attend remotely, you can do that. And I believe that the information, is that in the mailing that? Oh, it's on the live stream is on our website. No.
It's because it's Sharon's name.
Oh, it's Sharon's Zoom link. Okay, so then it's in the.
It's the same link as the funeral, so if you, it's a condolence letter, that's the funeral link, that's the same.
When we sent out the condolence notice to the congregation, there's a link to a page with all the Zoom information. Closing song, Adon Olam, page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malah B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'inasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Tiklot HaKol Levado Yimloch Torah V'hu Haya V'hu Hover V'hu Yeh B'tifara Do 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 Ve'hu echad התכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור הבלי בעין צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. Do 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 בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת אישן והעירה, ועם רוחי קביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. דו 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 דו. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Skylar, for tech mentioning. That's a